Cool. Hey ladies, how you doing? It is officially the last week of 2020. Oh my goodness. That is so wild. And I'm sure that all of us have a plethora of thoughts and feelings about that. I'm sure that we've got a lot of stories about things that happened, things that didn't happen, the way in which the events of this year have unfolded in our lives and affected our lives. And yet, still, we're here. We're still thinking about the year and what has happened, and kind of closing out the holiday season, closing out the year and moving into 2020. And a lot of us are thinking about what it is that we want to let go of, and what it is that we want to begin to cultivate, and what changes that we want to make in our life. This season that we've been in this last year has brought many challenges and many opportunities and ways to do things differently, to think about things differently, and an increased awareness, if you will, on the importance of our health. We no longer can put it off. It's not, even, I mean, culturally, even, right? No one is wanting to put off their health and their vitality. It's like, oh my goodness, how can we band together, or kind of, fall off the scene? And so here we are. It is the Tuesday before the new year, and thinking a lot about the past year and things that we want to let go. And you know what? That's not a new concept. It's not a new topic. This idea of letting go, making space, making room in our minds and in our hearts and our bodies for something new, a new experience, a new vitality, a new way of being, because the old way of being maybe isn't working. And that's not to say that everything isn't working, right? That's kind of ridiculous. We've all been very successful in various ways of our life, various aspects of our life. And yet here we are in this beautiful community of like-minded people who are thinking more consciously about our health and wanting to make some changes in either what we're eating or how we're eating or why we're eating it, so that we can experience the benefits. And there's various benefits. There's benefits in our mind, right? When the weight gets lifted off of our mind, there's other things to think about when that's no longer an issue. When the weight gets lifted off of our shoulders and we begin to self-care in that real way, not chocolate cake and bubble baths kind of self-care, the kind of self-care where we're beginning to build a life of vitality, a life of consistency around taking care of this body, this gift, this mind, this life. And so that our cup is filled as we move into the world. And then, of course, it's that weight lifted off of our heart. It is heavy on the heart when we are continuously doing something in our life that is continuously giving us heartache and pain and suffering. And it's very confusing in the human mind. I've been confused about this since I was 8 years old. This idea that food, which brings me sustenance and nutrition, right, and then is nurturing and pleasure and joy, that somehow is also the thing that has been my biggest nemesis. It has also given me an incredible amount of pain, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, on so many levels. That frustration that I've had in that relationship with food, and wanting it to be different, just wanting it to be different, just wanting to be effing normal. Whatever that means, I don't know, but in my mind, it seemed right. I just wanted to grasp onto that. And I want to think so much about what I was eating and how I was eating, when I was eating it, and how many calories it had, and how much exercise I needed to do, and like why my clothes don't fit. And now I have to go shopping and I don't really want to, and this doesn't feel good, so I don't really want to go there. And just a constant barragement of mental torture. And so again, it's heavy on the heart when we are confused in that way. And there's so much knowledge and understanding and experiences. And how do we kind of piece all of those things together so that it works well for us? whew, and it is individual, and yet it's not, because we're all human, right? Like we all do need to sleep and eat and have relationships with people, and I don't know, go to the bathroom, all of those kind of things. Like we just, we got to breathe, we need oxygen. There's a foundation of what the physical and mental and emotional body needs. And yet there's a lot of different ways to do that. So, and then, of course, the weight gets lifted off our mind, lifted off our shoulders, lifted off of our hearts. And then finally, and it's not in that particular order, but then finally also it gets lifted off of our bodies. Right. And then we get to live in that consistency where the mind and the body and the heart are all in coherence together, where the insides and the outsides are matching, that we're not putting on a face for the world while behind there screaming and crying and wishing that someone would just break down the door and give us a hug and tell us it's going to be okay and that we're lovable no matter what. Whew. Okay, so today's beautiful power lesson, we're going to be talking about letting go and what that means, right? Because if what we've been doing to this point is working for us, awesome, keep doing that. Right? Like that's amazing. We want to do things that work, and there's a lot of things that you're doing that are working really well, so keep doing them. And then sometimes we realize that we're stuck, we're feeling kind of like in quicksand where we just can't seem to get out. And the more that we try and the more that we fight and the more that we really want to get out, the deeper and the deeper and the more stuck we feel. And it's a very lonely place to be. It is a very frustrating place to be. And we just don't know how or what needs to happen to let go, because it feels like if you let go, you're just going to get sucked down into the quicksand. Now, of course, this is a metaphor, like letting go of old ideas and old thoughts and old belief systems that no longer work for us is actually a good thing, but it's scary. It's scary to do it at first because it's different. And then you're left with, okay, I let go. Like, now what? Right? Like now we got to begin to build and put something in its place that is more invigorating, that is more life-giving, that is forgiving, that is compassionate, that will actually move us forward in the direction that we want to go. Well, hello, you got to know what direction you want to go first. Right? So then you know what to fill in that space. And all of this takes consideration. It takes some time, right? I'm not talking about years and decades, but it does take attention and awareness in the moment. So I'm just going to share my screen here with you real quick so that you can get a little bit of a visual as I am talking about the process that I have been implementing with myself and my clients, a process of letting go. And the process that I have come, the number one is first, of course, awareness, right? We just were talking about this. We have to become aware. And sometimes that is the most painful place because we can stay stuck in that quicksand, just kind of, pedaling our way, just breathing for a really long time. We can put our needs to the side because you know what? This person needs it more. You got the kids, you got the job, you got the husband, you got the this, you got the that, the friend. And there's always, what's going on in the world. We got COVID. There's so many things to distract us from what's really going on. So if you have even a shred of awareness that something does not feel right to you, and that there is a disconnect between your insides and your outsides, and you're feeling that frustration, you're feeling stuck, and you're feeling like you just want to move forward so that you can breathe again. Oh, I know it's super uncomfortable, but that is a really good place to be. It's a good place to have that awareness because we all know what it's like when you don't personally. And then it's also easy to see in other people, right? Like it's easy to see in other people, like, oh my God, no, you're just totally stuck. Like, let go, do this and this. Right? It makes so much sense. But when it's our own self, right? We're protecting our own mind, our own heart, our own life. So even having a little bit of awareness is really important. And number two is compassion. It was interesting. I was chatting with Natalia last night about this process and the order in which I put these steps. And both of us had a feeling about that word compassion, how important it is, but it's like, well, maybe that goes first, maybe it's second, maybe it's third, no, it's totally fourth, wait, no, I think it's fifth. Like, we couldn't decide where that goes. And really, this idea of compassion, it goes everywhere. And this to me was the missing link in my health and my vitality, my weight loss journey, the lifting the mind, the weight from the mind, the shoulders, the heart, my body, all four of them, so that I can live free even for a moment. It's not 100%. I'm not sitting here at the top of a mountain going, ha ha, like, this is what it's like. Just do these things. It was, I had almost zero compassion for myself or freedom in my mind and my heart and in my body for a long, long time. And then when I began to learn this process and I began to implement it, and I actually reached out and was willing to ask for some help and to be patient with myself and allow compassion to move into my heart and into my thoughts and begin to play with, what does that mean for me? It was the compassion that allowed the four pieces to come together. It was the compassion, which was the missing piece in every diet that I've ever done. Nobody talked about compassion, right? It wasn't until I got an actual health coach and I was doing the thing, month after month after month. And I lost the weight and I was feeling really good and everything. And then I went boom, right off, right off the edge. And I found myself face first in a box, in a carton, in a bag of whatever. And I was devastated. I thought that I had it this time. I thought that I didn't have to deal with that anymore. And there I was. But I had paid for a coach. And so I called her the next morning, 5:30, they have their meetings. I called at 5:30. Actually, I was on there at like 3 o'clock, right? Ding, ding, ding on the little phone, press the number, gotta talk, gotta talk, gotta talk. She called on me and I just cried. I was so upset. I was so disappointed. I was so judging of myself. It was literally the last thing on earth I wanted to do, was to share what I had done with another human being. I was so ashamed. And she said to me, "Where's the compassion? Where?" Right? And she gave me permission to be human. And that was when the weight was lifted from my heart, from my shoulders, from my mind. And instead of going in that downward spiral like I've done so many times, back into the whole cycle, I began to live my life free. Right? And so now it's 10%. A couple months go by. I'm building compassion in every area of my life. It comes up. I feel closed off in my heart. I ask myself, where's the compassion? It lifts just a little bit. Now I get to live 20% of my life free. And then 30. And then it comes up again. And I cry. And then I call someone and I'm honest with them about what's going on, because I know that they don't judge me because they go through the same stuff that I do. Right? And I cry and I let it go and I find the compassion. I move on. Now I get to live 50% of my life free. And it's a process. And one of the things that I found, because I spent a lot of time as well back in the day just trying to do the body positive thing, right? It's like, all right, well, I'm heavy. Who cares? Let's eat. Which was fine and fun and beautiful. And it also hurt. My physical body does not like to eat that way. Maybe mentally and emotionally I do, right? But physically I was suffering. My bones, my joints, my body, my digestion, right? There's a slew of consequences that come out on my physical body when I just go with eat whatever I want and love myself. Right? I'm not one of those people that gets to live in a healthy body and be eating sugary, floury, processed stuff all day long. God bless you if you're one of those people. I love you. I'm jealous. So again, building that compassion inside. So first it's awareness, then compassion begins to move into my cells and my systems. And for me, I have to have a plan. I have to have a plan for what it is that I'm going to eat. I have to have food in its proper place to lift that weight of the world lift the weight of the food and the food thoughts from my mind. And I got to keep it really simple. And when I have a plan and it's written down, then it's cool. It's in its place. Now I get to live my life the rest of the hours in between meals. I don't have to think about calories. I don't have to think about how much I exercise today or plan and scheme and prepare. And I can have this and a little bit of that. Well, I want that. Well, what about over here? Right? Just for one day, like we've been talking about a lot, just for one day, I have a plan for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm not tripping on what happened yesterday. Just for today, I have a plan. And for me, that has been, all of these things are the little pieces, right? It's like spokes in the wheel, right? You only have one spoke, you're wobbling around. You only have two, you're still wobbling around. When you have 3, 4, 5 spokes in the wheel, now you've got support on all sides. Now you can roll down the road real easy. The next thing is important to have some action, right? Just having a plan and being really kind to myself and my heart, like that's really beautiful. Okay, I'm aware. I'm so aware. I have some compassion. Beautiful. Yeah, I have a plan. Now I got to get it working, right? Now I got to get into some action. Now I got to actually buy the fruits and veggies, right? Now I got to actually go and cook the meals and eat the meals. Now I have to actually go in the times in between meals and live my life. Right? I got to call people. I got to do things. I got to put things together, whatever needs to happen. There's action that is involved in life. They say that it's hard to be depressed when you're in action, when you're doing something. It's easy when you're just sitting there watching TV on the couch. I mean, you don't even have to have anything going on to not appreciate that experience. I'm not saying that relaxing isn't good. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking that consistent, just non-action, just thinking, right? Too much thinking causes paralysis. You want to get into some action, do something positive for yourself, for another person. And then the fifth thing, of course, and we're always incorporating compassion into each one of these. On number 3, I have a plan. Do I always stick perfectly to the plan? No. And when life happens in between my meals or during a meal, I incorporate the idea of compassion into it. Yes, I had a plan. Yes, I'm going to incorporate compassion. I still have permission to be human. Yes, I'm in action. Is it always perfect? No. Sometimes it's super ungraceful. That process of learning to take care of myself, which means that I have to speak my truth. I have to ask for what it is that I need and that I want from myself and from the people around me. Super scary at first, very ungraceful at first. It comes out all wonky and weird and angry. At least that's what it did for me. Or it comes out like kind of passive, you know what I mean? And then it's like that weird passive aggressiveness. Sometimes it comes out really clean and nice, and we're like, cool, that worked. Right? Again, allowing compassion to move into there. We're not supposed to be perfect the first time we do something, right? It's life. Anything worth doing great is worth doing terrible at first, right? We're learning, we're human. And the next thing that was really important to me, and I think that I've kind of sprinkled it through this little lesson here today, is the support and the accountability. I have to surround myself. I have to have a safe space in my world where people understand the way that I think, right? That people understand the pain that I've been in, right? And that's why there's support groups for all kinds of things. Like there's certain things I will never know about, right? There's certain things about being a man that just are outside of my experience. And so it's important to have a group of people that you feel comfortable enough with to share honestly about the thoughts and the feelings and the struggles and the frustrations. It's important to normalize what's going on inside of us so that we can then let go, right? And we can let go of the past stuff because someone else did it. It's not so scary. They can help us and guide us and support us and encourage us along the way. Very important. And then you can see here, I have this little in parentheses, repeat, right? Because you ain't done, right? You don't just go through this one time and it's like, oh, I've let go of everything. Right? It's a continuous process. It's an unraveling, right? It's a pulling back the layers of the onion, or maybe it's a blossoming flower, right? That's a nice little visual. And so each of the petals kind of falls away. And again, we're back to awareness. Whoa, there's that thing, either again, but it's softer because you've already been practicing compassion, or it's a new thing that we get an opportunity to let go of. It never ends. We kind of laugh about that in our coaching calls in my program. We're like, what? Okay, cool. All right. Just when we think we got it, there's something new, right? Which is good. That's part of the process. If you're not continuing to grow and learn and change, then you are probably not on this earth anymore. Right. So again, we come back to, well, there it is again. And how important is the compassion now? Right? After you've already been through this entire process, you're like, okay, but you know what? I did it last time. I can do it this time. I have a plan. I know the action steps that I need to take. And you know what? I have the support and the accountability. Right. And then you just keep going through this process. It's simple, not necessarily easy, but I will tell you that it does get easier over time. One of my favorite little prayers is, thank you, God, for bringing this up so that it can be healed. How can I know what needs healing if I'm not aware? Right? How do I know that I need to take the nail that I just stepped on out of my foot and clean it, put some antiseptic and a band-aid on it if I cannot feel and I cannot see the nail? Right? The pain is the indicator. The pain is that thing coming up because it's ready. You're ready. If you're feeling the pain and you're aware of it, you are ready, capable, and able. And I've found that it's a lot easier with a little bit of support. But don't forget that compassion piece, right? So then we go through it again. Then we got a plan, we got some action, we got some support, more stuff comes up. Incorporate compassion. All right, now we got a plan, we got some action, we're just continuing to move forward. Okay, so let's stop share here. Ladies, you are so wonderful and so beautiful. I'm just going to pop in the group real quick and see if we've got, oh, Paula says I'm stuck. I know, I hear you go. Hi, Paula. Miss listening to you. My love is heavy as well. My heart has been heavy. Perfect timing. Oh, good. Well, I'm so glad that you're here, Paula. And just to let you know, and all the other ladies know, we're going to be going through this really beautiful process of letting stuff go with a plan and action and support in a 12-week process starting next week. So if you want in on that, ladies, we want you in with us as well. We are so excited to go through this process together and with you, sharing with you our experience, and so that you can begin to have that healing space as well, right? A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little softer, a little bit more compassion. Okay, so I have the link all over the place and in the emails. Hopefully you guys are getting my emails and opening them up, because there are invitations to join us, invitations to ask about the special 2020 bonus that you will get when you sign up for the program here this week, and we'll start next week. Okay, I'll put the link so that you can get in hold of me, and we can schedule a little call and talk about whatever details that entails for you to join us. All right, I love you. I hope that you're having a great one. I love that little prayer. Now it's so good. Thank you, God, for bringing this up so it can be healed. You got this. Love you. Bye.